was struggling about how to introduce our next presenter, Homaro Cantu, and I racked my brains. I could tell you about his award-winning culinary madhouse scientific genius center that is Moto Restaurant in Chicago, and I kept looking for stuff. People told me all over the place, oh my goodness, it's the most sublime dining experience. It's the most inventive thing. I kept looking for quotes. Could I find that he's been on the cover of magazines, and nothing really served the bill. And then recently, could I have my slides, please? I came across the perfect way to introduce Homaro Cantu to you. It was a recent page in Wired magazine, and they profiled a couple of different new cocktails from different chefs. And they had good ones and bad ones, interesting different flavors. And this was Homaro's. If we could go forward, please. Yes, caramelized wine by Homaro Cantu. Very simple. Only 2 ingredients, 1 vanilla bean and 6 ounces of red wine. The instructions very simple. First, clamp a vanilla bean below an inverted wine glass. Then, heat the bean with a class 4 laser until a mist coats the inside of the glass. Remove the bean, flip the glass, pour the wine, and drink. And with that, Homaro Cantu.
Thank you. Let's be a little careful, though. We might screw this whole thing up. What we're going to do is we're going to pass out an edible substrate or printed food product. It's actually the PopTech logo, and we have copyrighted that. Why do we copyright things? Because the man is trying to steal our innovations, and in order to kill the man, we must create our own Leviathan empire to take over the man. So I'm going to talk a little bit about my background, my partner in crime, Ben Roche, and then we're going to watch a movie which will sort of make everything make sense. Myself, very early in life, myself, my sister, my mother, we drifted into homelessness for a period of about 3 years. And during that time frame, you begin to look at things from a survival standpoint. What does it take to survive? You know, understanding the price of oil is great, but what about what you're going to eat for dinner? How much does that impact you? How much is it going to affect the way you and gobs of people think? So please don't eat that right now. This is part of the presentation. Everybody's very anxious. So I'm the chairman of Cantu Designs, which is the design company that is the idea factory for Moto Restaurant, and we design food delivery systems, one of which you are beginning to consume. Also the chef of Moto Restaurant. Ben Roche, my partner in crime, also the pastry chef of Moto Restaurant and the director of research and development for Cantu Designs. Grew up in a military family, moved around a lot, was taught that thinking creatively is not the way to go. It's got to be regimented. You got to do A to Z and nothing in between. So that is why we are here, to sort of change the rules a little bit. The innovations we create are also inventions. They have multiple applications. What you just ate or are about to eat has applications ranging from retail, promotions, military, famine relief, and space exploration. I'll give you one example, space exploration. We were approached by NIAC to create the world's first food replicator, a device similar to the one on Star Trek where you push a button and you got your medium rare cheeseburger with Coca-Cola spitting out the other end. Why is that useful? Because if we understand how to transmogrify food from one point to another, then we can increase our spectrum of edible products, which means that we can help famine. So I like to think of food like coming to the opera. When you go to the opera, you don't get to select Act 1, Scene 5. You buy your tickets, you're there for the whole production. It's entertainment. So when you come to Moto, you're going to select between 3 menus, a 5, 10, and 20-course menu. You're going to dine from 2.5 hours to 5 hours, and you're going to see the production piece as we intended you to see it. So let's get tasty. The only logical way to start off with a tasting menu is with a taste of your tasting menu. So, the edible menu. will be rearing its head shortly. We're going to go to India, though. This is a dal, Indian-style stew. Some cured lemon, the edible menu that tastes like curry, a shot of cucumber and yogurt that has been spun through a centrifuge for a nice cleansing effect. You take the menu, break it up. It's like chips and salsa on crack. Everything on the edible menu isn't what it seems. The reason why we have chosen things that you're familiar with is because you need a reference to understand this food. If we don't give you a reference of something that you've had before that is similar to the transmogrified product that's on the plate, it's just weird. We got a little confidential disclosure there, non-disclosure, so don't talk about this to anybody. The next course is going to be a hot and sour soup. We're going to go to Vietnam. The broth is very simple. We have fish sauce, bacon, hot, sour. Things that remind us of Eastern foodstuffs. So the broth is hot. And then we take eggs and mix them with a little bit of sesame, some Vietnamese herbs. And this is an egg drop soup. We put it into liquid nitrogen, place it into the bowl of soup in front of the diner. And what's going on here is the eggs are actually going from raw to cooked, but they're going from frozen to raw to cooked. You're engaging in this interactive experience where the eggs change texture. They alter the texture of the soup. You're eating one body of liquid that has multiple temperatures, and it's kind of cool. Fizzy Fruit Company. We developed carbonated fruit. Fizzy Fruit did too. So we partnered up with them. All of these soda vending machines in high schools, grade schools, middle schools, going to be replaced with carbonated fruit vending machines, which is an all-natural, FDA-approved fruit product. Picture fruit going into a can, being carbonated. Now kids eat their fruit. So what we're going to do here is carbonate some fruit salsa. Here's how it works. Take baking soda and baking powder in 2 little packets. You put it inside the Insulated. And add a little water. That combines to make CO2. The CO2 goes into the chamber. We got a little packet in there of some fruit salsa. Bear in mind this was filmed in April, so we're a little out of season. We got some pineapple, some grapefruit, a little jalapeno, some onion. So this is adult food. Wouldn't really have kids eat this. We're going to make a dish out of that. Celery root puree. The fizzy fruit for a cleansing effect, and it's fun. Good for you. Little lemon zest. And then we take a scallop and dip it in scallop puree with a starch medium to make scallop tempura. So that's the scallop tempura. This dish is scallop with carbonated fruit salsa. Now we're going to make champagne. Champagne is made from the double fermentation of grape juice or grape must. What we have is 2 syringes, both extracted grape juice, both have a sort of reaction that's going to happen when we place it into the glass. So this is called synthetic champagne. We're going to make a quick champagne out of raw grape juice. And I look at dishes as entire product lines, an entire industry. Kids would go crazy over something like this. They mix 2 liquids. It makes a fizzy, foamy, cleansing champagne. And we actually do that in front of the diner. The winemakers love this stuff. Gets them to think more creatively. We're going to make some snow. We take goat cheese, make a stock, spray it into liquid nitrogen, scoop out the remnants, and then we have snow. Looks, does not taste like snow. And then we add a little bit of vinegar. It's like a cheese course. Whenever we invent a new dish, we have to create new hardware. When we create new hardware, we create new technologies. This is very ground basis technology here. It's not too complicated. Food replication is. So, fizzy fruit again, different application. We have a blood orange. We're going to put that in that little bowl there. The diner is going to take that carbonated orange and squeeze it over the dish that they're going to get, which is a seafood dish. It's a little parsley root puree in the bowl. We're going to add some hamachi, mixed greens, fried shallot. You can see it bubbling away there. So, fresh squeezed orange soda. It's great. So you're the diner, squeeze. Sometimes they think that we're really messing with them when we serve them a half of an orange at $160 a head. So another invention, a super insulated polymer oven. I modeled this originally about 5 years ago in my basement. Didn't look like this. This was created through ProEngineer and 3D printing. What did we just do? We just took this oven, put it into the oven that you have at home for about 8 to 10 minutes. You pull it out, it'll cook food at room temperature for 4 to 6 hours. Think about the energy saving benefits of this. Now, if you change the shape and clarity of the oven, let's say we make it crystal clear and we change the shape, it looks like magnifying glass, it's going to work like a magnifying glass so you can leave it outside and cook your food in Antarctica. And it's made of renewable materials. So, we have bass in there with a tomato broth. This goes in front of the diner. This is a green version. We do have clear, so you're watching that cook while you're eating this. Nobody's there. Nobody's touching it. It's going to cook perfectly every time. Buttered popcorn. Everybody loves buttered popcorn. This is a basil syrup, we'll call it. This is butter poached king crab. So crab is sweet, popcorn sweet. Things have to work. If they're weird, they have to taste good. They got to go together. Freeze-dried coconut powder. So here's another concept on a plate, a whole industry. An extruded noodle that has 0 carbs and is vegan. I can extrude noodles quicker than people can make regular pasta, because with regular pasta you need eggs, you need flour, a lot of processing. With this, we can do it quicker, cheaper, and it's better for you. That noodle is made out of passion fruit. All natural products. Very important. We're going to have some peas and carrots. We take peas and carrots and turn them into little frozen balls with liquid nitrogen and pea and carrot extract. So as you eat this, it begins to warm up on your palate, thus creating a delayed, intense sensation. Those peas and carrots taste more like peas and carrots than peas and carrots, which is the idea with all of this food. Our fish is done. You've watched it cook. Notice how we can touch this polymer box. We touched it when it came out of the oven. It cools on the outside super quickly. And now our fish is cooked to perfection. There's about a 10 to 15 minute error ratio where you can leave it in there for 10 to 15 minutes. It's going to come out perfect every time. Perfect by our standards, which is a pretty good standard. So we serve you the fish, the broth. It's all natural, no fat. And we throw some mushrooms on there. Now let's talk about that polymer oven for a second. What we have to do as cooks is understand the transfer of heat or the transfer of energy. So we've got an oven. We put our food in it. Here's our food. Here's our oven. The food evaporates moisture. Every time you evaporate moisture, you've got flavor loss. All the vapors carry the flavonoids with it. You've got nutrition loss. When you put it inside this polymer oven, it creates a miniature oven that's equidistant from all sides of your product, and you can watch it go from raw to cooked. So you're preserving all of those beautiful elements that make food taste great. And this is actually probably the most highly regarded dish at Moto. You can read about it, and you can do it. So while you're making salad at home, your fish box is cooking your food perfectly. So you can enjoy your company more. Now we're going to get a little crazy. We take milk, add a little bit of sodium bicarbonate to it, reduce it down. That is milk jam. Those are mushrooms that we throw on the grill so they're nice and smoky. All natural wood grill. That's nice. Little duck confit. Who doesn't like that? Or braised duck leg, as some of us know it. Some poached tuna. A little bit of sea salt on there. So we got this surf and turf going on here. Okay? That's duck confit powder, or duck confit oil that we have powdered, transmogrifying one thing into another. A little bit of Japanese spice there for some spice. And some oranges that we threw on the grill until they turned into carbon to give the whole thing a little bitterness. Now, we get nuts. We take all of those elements and place them onto this edible substrate that is actually M.C. Escher's Sky and Water painting. So you see the little tunas turning into ducks. And all of those flavors exist in that single substrate. And you eat it. That's hot. Okay, we got a custom designed plate and some bean purees, white bean puree, very simple. White beans. Scarlet runner beans. There's beans all over. And sea beans. There are beans that grow in the sea, and they're very salty and good. Bison. But this dish is boring. Some homemade Rice Krispies. Very simple, but boring. Chorizo powder. Boring. So now we got to take this thing and make it hot. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a utensil and hollow out the handle. I had that made by an old German spring maker. So you put the herbs in the utensil, and as you're eating, everybody does this. You put the utensil in your mouth, you close your mouth, you breathe in through your nose. Flavor perception is 75% through the olfactory, 25% on the tongue. Big deal. What do we do with that? What do we do with food replication? We're going to take that idea and we're going to make a utensil with a hollow shaft and a heating mechanism inside the hollow shaft that we can push a button and heat and cool and heat and cool. So now we can take a utensil and create entire meals inside the utensil so you can carry this with you and throw it away when you're done. But for now, we're going to enjoy that. Another retail product. By the way, all this stuff is patent pending. I know how you guys feel about that, but that's just the way it is. We're going to take a trip to Central America. We're going to have a little amaranth that's a super grain, contains all the 8 essential amino acids for survival. That has the texture of corn flakes, we'll say. A little bit of jalapeno sorbet. Some avocado. Everybody likes that. Very summery. And some warm lemon myrtle cream. This dish is really meant to play on textures. Not really a groundbreaker, but a theme of a specific region. Now we're going to show you some dangerous shit. Nitrogen, laser, and Salvador Dali. Love it. So we're entering our kitchen. You're the diner. You've reached this part of the journey, so we're going to invite you into our sick little world. You come downstairs. First, you put on your laser safety goggles so you don't dissolve your eyeballs. And normally we have the lights turned out for this. OSHA's just too paranoid about certain things. They just need to learn to have fun. And there's Ben, the laser technician. Our laser experimentation has evolved considerably since this. So there's the vanilla bean. We're going to keep the vapor in the glass. Now, what do we do with this? So in May, you understood it to be smoke going into a glass. Well, what we've been doing since May is we take that smoke and we freeze that, and then we take those little pellets and mix another ingredient into it, and then we can take that and package it in plastic bags, and then when you open the plastic bags, the little pellets turn back into smoke. That's cool. That's a whole new product. So this is a food and wine pairing. The food is the vapor. The vanilla bean is present in the wine, or it's got vanilla notes. We got the beam dump there so that way we don't get shot. We put that upside down. It goes out to the table upside down. You're looking at this swirly, steamy looking thing. And now we're going to pair that food and wine pairing with some food. The look and feel of the kitchen, even since April and May, has changed considerably. We're constantly changing. That is kielbasa. So we're going to have a Polish-German extravaganza. We got some cabbage with mustard and bacon. It's very manly flavors. Laser mustard. Little wood-grilled beef. And finally, after you've received your dish, we serve the wine. The vapor escapes, coats the inside of the glass with a micro-thin layer of vanilla caramelization. Wine goes into the glass. You go back upstairs before this and enjoy your course. We're going to have a fruit and cheese plate in the form of macaroni and cheese. That is molded lychee fruit in the shape of macaronis or rigatonis, however you want to look at it. We got some beets here. The beets are sweet, golden, and purple. Little blueberry with a Cuban mint. Some triple cream cheese that's been blended with white chocolate. The only thing better than chocolate and triple cream cheese is those two together. And some rice paper that tastes like lychee. So here we have a fruit and cheese plate in the form of macaroni and cheese. Okay, now I'm going to hand it over to Ben Roche, our Research and Development Director.
All right then. So as we move into desserts, we're going to start off with fettuccine, which is not your typical fettuccine. So you have, it looks like you have your kind of traditional egg yolk cream sauce. There's some pesto going on there right now. We're going to throw a fettuccine noodle in there and then shave some parm over the top. What you're actually eating is a lemon meringue pie. So you've got your lemon curd on the side, some mint over there in the green puddle. And this is actually the pie crust here that we toss with a little bit of cream. And then over the top, we have some shaved meringue. So it looks like one thing, but it tastes very different. It's kind of a shock to the senses. Omar was talking about the transmogrification of food. This is kind of a visual transmogrification. All right. So this next dish would be a good time to pause and tell all of you all to pull out your PopTech paper, because it kind of coincides with this dish. So I promise that this is not going to do any harm to anybody, right? All right, well, I hope it doesn't do any harm to anybody. All right, so go ahead and look at it, taste it. I suggest the best way to eat this would be to put the whole thing in your mouth and kind of chew once or twice on it. You can put it directly on your tongue. Just don't put it on the roof of your mouth, because it might kind of stick your mouth together.
Can I jump in here for a second?
Yeah.
You got a mic? So what are you eating here? You're eating cotton candy. We've taken cotton candy, transmogrified it into something that's printable. It's got a much longer shelf life than cotton candy. The biggest challenge with cotton candy is you have a textural reference. It's fluffy, it's light, sugary, it's got crunch. With this, it's sort of similar in a two-dimensional format. So we're going to take that two-dimensional format, and Ben is going to do something really nuts with it.
All right, so this was a dish kind of inspired by those little bears that ride around on unicycles with funny hats at the circus. We got some fried cotton candy over there in the little bowl, a chocolate truffle that has a liquid cotton candy center, and an image of cotton candy that tastes like cotton candy, similar to the one they're eating now. The whole reason that we're doing cotton candy with this, because it's a very difficult flavor to duplicate. So we thought we'd kind of flex our culinary muscle here and show people what we can do with something that's made of nothing more than just sugar. We can extract flavor out of that and present it in different ways. Even though it is a bit silly. All right, so here's something that is potentially dangerous depending on the hand-eye coordination of our servers. This happens at your table. This is a plate that we've frozen with liquid nitrogen, once again. And its temperature is somewhere around -200, -300 degrees Fahrenheit. We can't actually calculate that because our thermometers don't go that low. But we've taken pancakes and pureed them in the blender with a little bit of milk and some seasoning. And we squirt that pancake batter onto the frozen plate. And it looks like we're cooking it. We're actually doing the exact opposite. So we're kind of freezing it on one side, flipping it over. And this is creating a kind of dual textured pancake. So you get kind of a liquid center and a crispy exterior. And then we put that with some maple syrup that is most exquisite. So this is one of those texture, temperature kind of, I don't know what you would call that. All right, so now we have kind of a familiar dish. It might not look familiar until you realize what exactly it is. We've taken a glass of milk, essentially, and stabilized it and kind of aerated that. And then we're going to do what I like to call a schmear. Maybe that's in the dictionary. I don't know. Where's Aaron? But inside of that schmear, we're going to put a little sphere-looking thing. It's actually jelly on the outside. We've taken the natural pectin found in grapes, mixed it with a few other secret ingredients, and then wrap that around peanut butter. So the peanut butter is going to kind of gush outside of that. And then to mop it all up, we have some bread product, some sweetened bread in the corner of the plate. So it's a peanut butter and jelly sandwich with a glass of milk. But it looks like something totally different. And here's another kind of visually molesting thing here. This is a banana split. So what we do is we make a banana puree, and we kind of stabilize that. We dip it in another banana puree of a different quality, and then we wrap it up with shredded bananas and fry it, so the inside turns into kind of a gel, and the outside gets crispy, and then we have a cherry on top. Just happens to be a pink triangle. No pun intended there. That's what it is. So that's a banana split. This next one, we have, besides cotton candy and popcorn and other sorts of fast food, we have this fascination with donuts. So we have donuts in two different forms here. There's some donut soup, which is, if you thought of donuts, what's the best? It's like a donut espresso. If you think of coffee and espresso, espresso is much more intense than a coffee. This liquid is much more intense than a donut. I'm not suggesting that you try and put donuts into a juicer because nothing's going to come out of that, but if it did, it would be that stuff. And then we've also taken the same donuts and then thrown those into the blender. We also have this thing with like putting finished baked goods in a blender. I don't know what it is. And we've made a pancake batter out of the donuts. So there's a donut pancake that tastes like the soup. It tastes like a donut, but it's a pancake. All right, what is next? I like that shot. All right, so this is the final dish of your 20 courses. We thought we'd finish the progression with a bowl of nachos. So we've got some corn chips. You've got your green chili salsa. We're going to put some sour cream and some cheese on there to just top it off. What's actually happening is you have some crystallized candied corn chips. It's got, think Frosted Flakes. We've got kiwis that have been tossed in kind of a mint juice. Some cheesecake, some citrus cheesecake that we've also blended in the blender. And then some cheese on top is actually a frozen mango puree that we grate with a food processor into a large bath of liquid nitrogen. And when you put it on top, you can actually kind of watch it at your table melt. But it's not melting because it's getting hot. It's melting because it's frozen and it's coming up in temperature. So it's kind of a reversal there. Plus, it's nachos for dessert, so we thought it would make a good idea.
Okay, so last thing here, we've got a cherry. And we're going to take our cherry that has CO2 in it, and we're going to turn that into dry ice. The cherry extract inside is freezing as well. And so you see this thing that looks like a big red raisin.
And this is another kind of interactive course where you thought that you finished your meal, and all of a sudden, 2 or 3 chefs come out from behind the door and drop these on your table, or they might, throw them over the wall onto your table, and you don't know exactly what's happening. But as it's inflating, there's this really intense cherry aroma, cherry essence maybe, that's kind of coming out of the balloon as it warms up. So the CO2 that's condensed and frozen, turned into dry ice, is actually a cherry vapor. And as that warms up and as that becomes a gas again, as it warms and becomes a gas, it's going to leak very slowly out of a pinhole that we've put in the balloon. And this kind of takes your environment at your table and turns it into kind of aromatherapy. We like to call this the Delta Force course.
That's our presentation. Thank you.
Thanks.